I get DMs of pictures of Hitler, like so many DMs of pictures of Hitler. When 5,000 people write Free Palestine on my post does better because it has 5,000 extra views.
So were you a virgin when you got married?
100%, yeah.
We have a lie detector test
So
back here.
yeah, I lost my virginity to my wife.
Did you have to wait till you got married to have sex?
We waited till we got married to touch each other. There was no
Really?
touching. There was nothing.
Really? Welcome to Wham Bam Thank You Pam. I'm your host, Pam Gaslow, writer, former stand-up comedian, and mastermind behind the 50-year plan to success. I also learned the hard way that you don't bring your vibrator to rehab, and wrote a book about it. Here we have bold, unfiltered conversations about sex, relationships, personal lives, and pop culture with a sharp, sexy, and comedic edge. Wham Bam Thank You Pam is the wildly entertaining, no-holds-barred discussion you didn't know you needed. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Wham Bam Thank You Pam. I'm Pam Gaslow. Today's guest is a comedian, writer, actor. He was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, currently living in Los Angeles. He hosts a weekly show at the Laugh Factory, and you might know him from some of his viral clips on social media. Welcome, Menachem Silverstein.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for
That's a
being
great
here.
intro. Like my mother would not have such nice things to say about me.
Really? She doesn't
She'd
like
be
you?
like, no, she loves me. She'd be like, Menachem, he was supposed to be a lawyer and now he's here.
Right, exactly. We're going to talk about that. So my first question was going to be, are you Jewish?
Definitely ish, just the most slightly tiniest, teeny tiniest bit of Jewish.
I couldn't tell at all. So you sell yourself like on your Instagram as the Brad Pitt of Orthodox Jews.
Yeah, the Brad Pitt of Orthodox Jews. That's definitely not a title that I gave to myself.
Okay,
Was
that was
definitely
what I was
given
going to ask you.
was definitely given to me by my mother in 2022, 2024, and 2025. We're not going to talk about 2023.
No, we're talking about
The
2023.
time that I
Now
didn't
that's
make
all
it.
I want to talk about.
What was actually funny was I just decided to come up with that line, and it's been one of the best things that I ever did because it sticks out so much.
It could be
And I'll
the
have
only thing you ever do because, like, if I just saw your picture and that line, I'm done. Like, you don't have to talk. That's all you need, that line and your picture.
Thank you. What's funny is I didn't like realize right away how powerful that like one opening line was, even though I'm a writer, so I should. But I've had so many people like I've had people who for years I've been trying to connect with randomly message me and be like, love that line, that's amazing. And
Did
I'm
you
like,
thank your mom?
my mom didn't actually give it to me. I'm giving her false credit. I did give it to myself because I'm definitely not vain.
Wow, okay. You already lied to me. We've only been
I already
talking like
lied.
3 minutes. It's one lie.
But my mother also was right. I could have been a lawyer. She knew.
We're gonna talk about that. So
Thank
tell
you.
me
I love that this
about,
is also therapy.
yeah, this
I feel
is
like we're going to work through
my
issues.
therapy too because I don't go anymore. Sure. So tell me about your background and how as an Orthodox Jew you got into comedy.
Nice. So my villain origin story. Yeah. So I grew up in Brooklyn. Grew up in a very very like ultra Orthodox community. So grew up in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, like home of Chabad, a subsect of super Jews. And what happened was to me, I always loved making people laugh, and I always loved being the funny one. I have a lot of kids in my family, so like you needed a unique personality to stand out amongst the seven kids. So I just started being funny, and I like being funny. I like being silly. I always was like fascinated by stand-up comedy. Like one of my favorite bits, and we're not really allowed to like him anymore. Bill Cosby had a thing where it's like a conversation between him and Noah and God about the flood. And it's just the funniest thing. And I would listen to it over and over in like Mel Brooks's comedy. And I was just obsessed with stand up. But I was never, I like thought that I'd be too Jewish for people. I was like, oh, nobody wants to see like somebody with a kippah and tzitzit doing stand up. And then I got into screenwriting. And years later, I was pitching a show with this girl. It was me, my writing partner, and this Indian Jewish girl. And we were pitching a show about like the making of a comedy special. So it was like a mockumentary about this girl who gets a comedy special but doesn't have enough comedy to fill her special, and she needs to find comedians who are like funny enough but not funnier than her. And when we were pitching it, um, they were like, "Oh, like we were pitching it at Amazon," and they were like, "Wow, are you one of those comedians? That's hilarious, an Orthodox Jewish comic." And I was like, "Yeah, for sure." And we shot test footage. It came out really, really great. And I was like, "Oh no, I'm going to be a comedian. If I'm going to play one, I need to become one." So I like launched into a comedy career and just started doing tons and tons of stand up. The show ended up falling apart, and I was kind of like stuck with comedy for better or for worse. And but what was kind of cool, it gave me the validation. Again, I was always nervous. Do people want to see an Orthodox Jewish comic, or is it too much to be like a kippah tzitzit wearing comedian? And this producer at Amazon was like, kind of gave me that validation. She's like, that would be hilarious. And I was like, okay, let's try it. And it's really worked, thank God.
Well, that makes you stand out, and now you're known for that because it's not like there's a ton of you guys doing this.
Not in the mainstream world, like in within the Jewish world, there are comedians now. It's kind of funny that like in the Orthodox world, comedy is having this like, I guess, resurgence. But in like mainstream comedy, I'm the only person kind of like actively wearing a kippah and tzitzit, which is kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. I mean, I noticed you also that way. So
Stop it.
I read that you were you not allowed to watch TV growing up? Is that right?
So growing up, we had this kind of like weird mix where it kind of felt like I was living a double life. In order for us to go to school, our parents would have to sign a paper that said there was no TV or movies at home. If
Wow.
the parents didn't annually sign this piece of paper, we were not allowed in school. Meanwhile, my parents weren't raised religious, they became religious. So my mom's mom was worried that we'd be like these Orthodox Jewish weirdos. So she would tape live television and send us cassettes.
I read
And
that.
then we would like go and we'd watch these cassettes, and it was amazing because we'd have like, my parents didn't want us to watch contemporary TV because they were like, oh, Drake and Josh, Hannah Montana would be like too, dirty. So we were watching like Get Smart, Gilligan's Island, Bewitched, like all of the old TV, and it was really, really awesome. But then again, what would happen is in school, I would never talk about it. Like to my friends who I knew also secretly watched TV and movies, we would talk, but it was kind of like a secret, like we were like watching TV at home. But it
I
wasn't TV, it was cassettes of TV.
Right, okay. I watched all those shows too because there were no other shows at that time. Like, well, I'm older than you. Okay, so that's a different story. But yeah, that's
But you were alive in the 1950s?
no, no, no. I mean, Bewitched and
Right.
Gilligan's Island. And I
Oh,
think
those are
about
the
it now,
best.
and like I loved Bewitched, but Gilligan's Island is probably like you couldn't pay me to watch that show now. I would probably like die because
Oh,
it's
that's so funny. Okay,
so it'd be like nails on a chalkboard. But when I was a
hilarious.
kid, I'm much older than you. Like those were the only shows. There were only like five channels. Can you believe there was a time like that?
What's a channel?
Exactly. Um, so so you're married and you have children,
I'm married
correct?
and I have two kids. Yeah.
Do you let your kids watch?
I do let my kids watch TV because I don't necessarily, so the concept of not letting your kids watch TV is kind of like sheltering them from the outside world and sheltering them from outside influence. I really love TV. So I definitely curate what the kids are allowed to watch, but I do let them watch shows. But I'll make
Why
sure, like
are
right now, they watch mostly animation.
why are religious Jews, Orthodox Jews, not allowed to watch TV? I don't even know, or movies. I don't even know the reason.
So it's really just kind of like about like outside influences that may negate certain morals and ethics that like the schools are trying to teach. So let's say like, again, even let's say like when it comes to like what is love, what is marriage, like they don't want it's inappropriate to see a guy and a girl kiss. Watch a Disney movie and it ends with like, we'll only save Sleeping Beauty with the kiss, or we'll save Snow White with a kiss. It always kind of like leads to like that, and the kind of the Orthodox community is like, that's not what we want the priority of our kid to learn.
Right.
We don't
How
want them
old
to
is,
go kissing dead corpses, hoping that they come to life.
oh God. How old are your kids now?
So 7 and 6,
Do they think you're
they're
funny?
little. So they do mostly. One of my best friends, his name is Turan, and we do stand up together. He actually helped get me to the Laugh Factory. Like I wouldn't really have a comedy career without him. Also, we write scripts together, and he's Persian, so my kids call him Amu, which means uncle. And what's funny is anytime my son would used to get upset with me, he would look at me and be like, Amu's funnier than you, and walk away because he knew it would like upset me. And I was like, he is, but don't say it out loud. But what's actually really funny is this past weekend, I got hired to do comedy by the synagogue's Friday night meal. So they had like a Friday night Shabbat dinner, and then they had me with no mic get up and do stand up. It was definitely kind of a difficult show, but it was really, really fun. I had a great time with it. And what was funny was they had a whole kids program outside with like bouncy castles and all this stuff. And the kids were supposed to go out during the show. And then it rained. So their party got rained out, and all the kids had to be in synagogue, which was a lot harder because I'm not a dirty comic, but there are certain adult topics that I wanted to joke about that I had to kind of like skip over. But what's funny is my kids finally heard jokes about them, and my daughter didn't like it. Like, that's not true. Like, it didn't happen like that. She's like giving me sass to like how it happened. And I'm like, you were
Right.
sassy to me. That's the joke.
You should have
You're
brought them
doing it
on
now.
stage. You should have done it with them at that point.
There
Funny?
was no stage. I was standing in the middle of tables.
Oh,
It was,
okay.
yeah, oh my gosh. But it's funny.
That-
My kids are very funny.
I like that.
My kids are
And
like never funny. Just two really quick stories. My son, like, my wife was talking to me about wanting to like buy jewelry. So he was like 4, and he walks over to her and he's like, if you let me watch TV, he's like, please let me watch TV. And she's like, no. It's like, if you let me watch TV, I'll buy you jewelry. And she was like, you don't have money. And he was like, trust me, trust me.
okay,
Like
he's a little
sassy,
he's a little character.
hustler.
So what happened when with your family when you told them that you were going to be when you were going to do stand up? What were you doing before that, and like how did that, come into play? Because I'm sure they weren't like so excited.
So what's funny is here's kind of like what happened. So my parents wanted me to be a lawyer, and my mom kind of like throughout my youth would be like, oh, would like introduce me as Menachem, he'll be the lawyer. And I really didn't want to do that. And I ended up, instead of studying for my LSAT, I wrote a script like while studying for the LSAT, and the script got attention from managers, and I got offered managers in LA. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be a writer. So how I started off was I was screenwriting during my lunch breaks, before work, after work, and I was working at a market research company in LA. So I had a 9 to 5 job, and I ended up getting my writing partner at the time hired at the same company. And we literally would be like, coffee break, write for 15 minutes, lunch break, write for 45 minutes. We'd come in an hour early and write, stay an hour late and write. And then we're like pitching and hustling and trying to get meetings and stuff. Meanwhile, I started getting hired to write on commercials. And I realized kind of like how potentially simple a lot of the productions were, and decided to eventually leave the what was I going to say? Leave my 9 to 5 and start a production company. In between, I was pitching the show to Amazon, and then ended up becoming a comedian. So what was kind of nicer for my family was I was never like, I'm only going to be a comedian and just kind of like leave the world high and dry. I was always script writing and running a production company and married with 2 kids and doing comedy. So it was a little bit easier for them to swallow. My mother came to the first time she saw me do stand up. She looked at me and she was like, you want me to enjoy the show or take notes? And I looked at her and I was like, whatever would make you happy. And she's like, okay, I'll take notes. And then asked the comedy club to borrow a pen and paper. And then after the show, she's like, no notes, you did a great job, which was very
Oh,
sweet. So
that's
kind of, yeah,
amazing.
a
That's
nice
very
little conclusion.
supportive. My dad, I used to do stand up, and I remember I told my dad he could not come and watch me because mine was very dirty because I'm not religious. And I remember I'm like, do not come. And his girlfriend at the time came, and then somebody came backstage and told me your dad's here. And I was like, I can't even tell you like the panic that I felt. And I ran out and I'm like, you have to leave. Like you have to go.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so like my dad was not supportive. And I remember my dad said to me once, so he did leave, but like one time he said to me, he's like, you're not funny. He's like, "Who thinks you're funny?" And I looked at him and I was like,
Okay.
"Mom?" Meanwhile, my parents are
Ouch.
divorced. So,
Right. Okay.
yeah, I was like, you know,
Did your mom think you were funny?
she did. My mom laughs at
That's
everything I
awesome.
say. Yeah.
Nice.
So I get it. And it's also interesting because, and I interviewed somebody else also, so many Jewish people that are funny and want to be comedians or actors or actresses. The parents are like, okay, as long as you go to law school first, you know?
Yes. My mom tried the same thing. She was like, go to
Right.
law school and you can do whatever you want. And I was like, wait, so once I'm $100,000 in debt and have a family that I need to support, I'll then quit and become a stand-up and writer? Like, that's never going to happen.
Right. And something that you gave like the hardest 4 years of your life to, or 3 years, I don't even know how many years law school is, whatever it is, it's a lot.
It's a lot. It's like two to
Yeah.
three. You could do like like a crazy 2 year program or a 3 year program.
No, I'd be in a mental hospital. How and when did you meet your wife? Like, did you get married at like 16 or were you normal?
We got we did get married really young, and I met her on the subway. Yeah, what was funny was me and my friend were going to a parkour class. We were going to Chelsea Pier in the city. They have this massive, like an adult playground. So me and my friend were actually running really late. We finally get to the train, and there are three girls on the platform, and one of them is really cute. And we get on the train, and my wife and her two friends were just going to the city. They wanted to go to a Nordstrom Rack, but apparently it was closed. My friends like come to parkour with us. And I kind of look at him and I'm like, what are you doing? Because boys and girls aren't supposed to hang out. Very
Was
taboo.
she religious or is she
Yes.
okay?
So what's funny is the two friends she was with were a little bit less religious. My friend was just down to party and have a good time.
Okay.
And my wife was kind of like, hey, I don't think we should be hanging out with guys. And basically, my friend invites her friend. They say yes. So my wife gets dragged on. And then the train ends up stopping because there was something on the tracks. They make us all get off the train and we have to like take a bus to the next train. And my wife was kind of like, ugh, why don't we go to Nordstrom Rack instead? Like, whatever, but it's closed. We get off the train to go to the bus in front of an open Nordstrom Rack. And I kind of look at my wife. I was like, here's your chance. Like, if you really want to go to Nordstrom Rack, there's a
Right,
Nordstrom
right.
Rack. And then she's like, you know what? It sounds fun. We'll go with you. And then they kind of like follow us to the class. They end up training home with us. So I go home after going to parkour and I'm like, hey, mom, there's a girl I want to date. And my mother looks at me and she says, you're not dating a shiksa because she knew I had just come from parkour. And I'm like, no, 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 she's Jewish. I swear, I swear. And it turns out like my parents and her parents also knew each other because both of them weren't raised religious. And
Okay.
they met up in like, the yeshiva seminary that they were becoming religious in. And then we
Oh.
dated and got married.
And how old are you?
I was 22. She was 19.
Wow.
Just
Did
turning
you have
19. Yeah.
did you have to wait till you got married to have sex?
We waited till we got married to touch each other. There was no
Really?
touching. There was no nothing,
Really?
which was a little bit like nerve-wracking for me because like that's the way we were raised. But before we got married, I did kind of have a freak out and I spoke to my aunt who's not religious. And then she sent me to a family friend who's kind of like my uncle, and he's super gay, but he was kind of giving me dating advice because when he was closeted, he dated women. So he's like, based on my memories, here's what to do or not to do. Because it was funny because to me, yeah, I was like, I'm like, what if we again like we touch and we have no chemistry? It's like too late now. Like it was
Right.
kind of, but thank God we're good and great, and it's awesome. But it was definitely a little scary for sure.
Wow. And so how long between when you met her and when you got married?
So we ended up dating for around 7.5 months. To most people, that seems like a short amount of time, but for Orthodox Jews, that's like really long.
Well, most people, who's most people? I mean, you guys are waiting for marriage, so how long are you gonna date, you know?
Right. I guess that's
It's
true.
interesting. I mean, I've watched a lot of movies about it. I just think it's so, just different from the rest of society. But I find
True.
it like so fascinating. So was that like the first person you were with?
So I kind of dated ish before that.
Mm.
I was one of those people that I kind of was always talking to a girl or had a girlfriend, kind of, but we were behaved. But at the same time, I was like a bad boy because I was talking to girls.
Oh my God. How do you
But it was
behave like
secret. I couldn't
that?
tell anyone.
What?
I couldn't tell anyone. It was very secret.
Now everyone knows.
including my no, and some of my friends, they didn't know. And actually, I was whatever. It's a very long story for another time. But like, I had two of my friends found out I was talking to a girl, and they were like upset with me. They were like disappointed in me.
This is
Like
so
Menachem,
crazy.
like
Our lives
this,
are couldn't be more different. So wait, I'm gonna be
100%,
blunt. So were you a virgin when you got married?
100%. Yeah.
We have a lie detector test
So
back here.
what's funny is,
He's like,
I'm working on
I'm
this.
being recorded. Yes, I
No,
was a hundred
like
percent.
I'm working on this as a joke, but like, yeah, I lost my virginity to my wife
So
7 days
special.
into marriage,
And you're still with her and you
and I'm
love
still with
her.
her, and I love her. But
How
yeah, but that's
like why couldn't like I wish my life was more like simple like that. I've been with too many
I.
people, don't like anyone, and I'm alone. So, I mean,
I'm here for you.
yes. And also, which leads to my next topic, you are a rabbi.
I am a rabbi, and I run a synagogue now, which is really funny.
And so what do you do? Like, tell jokes in the morning and then like you're a rabbi and like what happened? How does this all work?
So I live in like this really nice kind of like little area in LA. Basically, in our area, there is a synagogue and there's a rabbi, but he's like emotionally and verbally abusive. Like he's the worst. And he kind of chased everyone out, religious people, non-religious people. And I kind of realized, listen, I can't keep going there because if I bring my kids to a synagogue like that and they meet this rabbi, they won't be religious because he's awful. So me and a couple of the families decided we're going to make our own synagogue. And at first it was bouncing from house to house. And it was just like on Shabbat, we would just kind of like pray together, have a little kiddush and done. And then eventually we ended up having more people and we got a house and that was like the synagogue. And then our living situation switched. Like, so we were looking for a new place. And I, at the time, was already unofficially the rabbi because we didn't have a rabbi. And they looked at me and they're like, hey, Menachem, you have public speaking experience from comedy. You're ordained as a rabbi through yeshiva. Can you just do the speech 1 week, which became 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, etc. So I'm already kind of unofficially the rabbi. And the community comes over to me and they're like, hey, it's really expensive to keep the house that we have as the synagogue complete. What if we build out the garage and turn it into a synagogue and you get the house cheaper and you're the official rabbi? And I was like, well, I don't know. Do you want me to be the official rabbi? I also do stand up, blah, like all these kind of like reasons I shouldn't. And they all look at me and they're like, you know, you're the rabbi anyways, whether you have the title or not. Like you're teaching the Torah class, you're giving the speech, you're doing all the stuff anyways, just take the title. And I was like, okay. And
You
this is like
said to
almost two
me,
years ago.
it
And
was
now I'm the
2 years
rabbi.
ago, you said to me when we first spoke, you said I got bullied into starting a synagogue in my garage, and I'm like, this guy is so funny.
Yeah. So it's exactly, I 100% got bullied in, but it's kind of, to me, it's definitely like the good bullying. And I'm happy that I did it, but it was a bully situation.
A lot. So now, how do you balance like the seriousness of being a rabbi with like the unpredictability of being, stand-up comedian?
Well, I think they both feed into each other because the best comedy has dramatic elements. I feel like when you can talk about a real kind of dramatic thing, you can hit people with comedy harder. Like for me, what I try to do, let's say through my comedy, is bring awareness to how ridiculous certain stereotypes are against Jews and how ridiculous anti-Semitism can be.
Yes.
And also just, like kind of the trials and tribulations of being Jewish and having kids and being a parent and being married and all those things. So part of, let's say again, doing that is being able to be dramatic and have a real conversation about the fact that like I get DMs of pictures of Hitler, like
Uh,
so many DMs of pictures of Hitler, like so many different pictures of Hitler. Like when do they have time? Just like
what do
again,
you
like
do
kind
with
of like
those? What do you just ignore them, block them? What do you do?
the Hitler ones. I used to respond. Now I kind of just block it.
Yes. Or any, anti-Semitic comments or rude people.
So it depends. Like if something's funny enough and ridiculous enough, I'll respond and then put it on my story. I haven't
Yes.
done that in a while, but to me, it's kind of like I don't know. It really just depends on my mood. Sometimes I'll just delete it. Sometimes I'll ignore, and like once in a blue moon, I'll respond because I know the response isn't really going to do anything. But I'm always like kind of depending on the reaction and interaction. I got a comment on one of my videos that said "F you Jew, anti-Semitism doesn't exist,"
Uh-huh.
and I'm like, that's hilarious, and that's like in a joke now.
Right. I've done that too with my writing when people write, funny. not nice, but to me they're funny comments. I'm like, oh, there was another story. There's more material. So like, thank you so much. Like,
Exactly. And it also, like, as sad and silly as it's going to sound, it definitely helps with my Instagram. Like when 5,000 people write Free Palestine on my post does better because it has 5,000 extra views. So Instagram's like, ooh, people like this, and keep sending it out.
completely true. And so what are some funny like misconceptions people have about Orthodox Jews that you've encountered?
Well, I think like the biggest thing, which is funny, is they don't think that we're like human. They
Mm.
kind of like think that we're very othered. Like we're kind of like these weird aliens that can't have a conversation. Like people are genuinely surprised when I can just be like fun and funny. And they're like,
I'm
oh, we didn't
surprised
know
that
you guys
you're
could be funny.
I'm surprised you can have a conversation.
So you also thought I was an alien. It's good. We're incognito. No, and that's again like that's kind of that's the biggest one, and something that I'm trying to like, correct with writing and scripts and even stand up is just being like we're normal people. We just kind of again chose different priorities and a different lifestyle. There's this the rabbi that I did the stand up comedy for in Irvine. He's hilarious. He's one of the most fun guys I know. He's just like so funny. And then he's this holy rabbi who runs the synagogue with like 300 people a Shabbat.
Right.
Meanwhile, he's just like he's so fun.
Like funnier
Um,
than you? Because I think I need to meet him too.
you should. He might be because his off the cuff stuff is just so witty and funny, and even how he gets his synagogue to like quiet down for his speeches and stuff. He's just like badass, and I'm like, I don't know if I should call a rabbi badass, and as a rabbi, I don't know if I should say badass.
You said
But
it.
now it happened 3 times.
This rabbi is badass. I mean, it's a little far for me to go to his synagogue, but I,
I guess once I give you my address in the comments, and you know where I live, and you come here, it's not too far.
I know how to stalk.
Good, nice. Somebody has to.
Right. I mean, how do you think I made it this far? So
Nice.
so you do the weekly show. What else are you working on now? Where can people find you, see you, get to know you?
So, oh, thanks. So, right now I have a weekly show at the Laugh Factory every Thursday at 10 p.m. I
So
co-produce the
late.
show. It's the late show, but the late show is more fun because we also have really cool drop-ins. Because a lot of
If I
people
ever
that say
come to
like,
LA, I'm gonna come, but I haven't been there.
please,
Yes.
just yeah, just take a little cocaine so you stay up through the night. I mean coffee. I mean drink coffee and then you can
I
stay
don't
up.
do cocaine or drink coffee, so I'm just gonna
You're from
walk out
Miami.
there.
How do you not do cocaine?
I've been
Isn't
sober for
that
almost 30 years, dude.
first off, that's amazing. I've never done cocaine, but I joke about it a lot
I've
because it
never
just
done it either.
seems fun.
Yeah.
Nice. That's smart. You shouldn't. I just wonder what it smells like. But you don't drink coffee?
What?
You don't drink coffee?
I don't
Sorry,
drink
green
coffee.
tea, black tea.
I don't drink tea. I drink sparkling water. I'm addicted to that. It's the least harmful thing, and I'm sure I'll get kidney stones or something soon. So
From seltzer
I know I'm
or from
waiting for
just
someone,
Jewish chains.
yeah, for someone to be like, oh, this is gonna do X, Y, Z to you, and then I'm just gonna have to go to water because there's no step down after this. That's the only thing there is left. So
That's funny. But
I
wait,
did
and is
not
that
like
SodaStream?
coffee.
Do you make your own
Yes,
seltzer?
it's SodaStream.
I'm so proud of
SodaStream
you. That's
is
awesome.
everything to me. It's like my second pet.
It's crazy to me that it was like the biggest thing on planet Earth, and now it's like you don't really hear about it that much.
Well, you're hearing about it now, and I think the Jews invented it, right? It was from Israel. Someone
Oh,
told me.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love.
Like honestly, that's the best thing that ever came out of Israel. People are
I
like,
agree.
Iron Dome saves lives.
Hands,
SodaStream saves lives.
hands down, hands down.
Um,
No, I hate
but
coffee. I had 2 cups when I was 16 because I got back from Europe and I wanted to go out with my friends, and I hated it, and I never drank another cup again. So
but no energy drinks or like Red Bull.
no,
No.
no, that's
That's well, I guess that's
terrible.
good. That's healthy. I
I
think a lot
try
of
to be
coffee is
healthy,
just
but I'm
like
never awake. Like people like, how do you wake up? I'm like, I don't. I'm never up. No, this is like it's a miracle.
well, that's why you do so well in LA, because in LA, this is 10 a.m. Like in LA, you're up early on a
Oh, if
Sunday.
I came to when I come to LA, I'm like, on top of the world because I'm like, oh, I'm up at 7. Like, where? Let's go.
It's no, it really is. But the problem is like whenever I go to New York, where I travel for shows, if I go to New York, 10 a.m. is 7 a.m. for me. And I'm not a
Right.
morning person, and it
I'm not
just it
either.
kills me. Um, but yeah, so definitely when you get to LA, come to the show. Occasionally I do the early show, producing my own shows. Me and a co-producer named Eris Safar have a brand called Laugh Through the Heartbreak. And then when we produce our own show, it'll potentially be the earlier shows. I'm also working, like I have a couple pilot stuff out. We'll see what happens. And I'm working on a really fun web series with this production company. I took one of my pilots and made it into a web series, and hopefully we're gonna do that. I haven't done one of those in a while, but I'm
That's
excited.
exciting. And what's your Instagram so people can follow you or wherever you want them to follow you?
My Instagram is Menachem Silverstein. If you can spell Menachem, I deserve a follow.
Right.
Menachem. Silverstein should be easy. But it's also, yeah, it's really hard to like try to garner a following when your name is impossible to spell.
Is it impossible? I mean, I'm a good speller though, and I'm Jewish, so I guess it's easier for me.
For me, I'm an awful speller in Jewish, and I feel like I can spell Menachem because it's my name. But if somebody else, like, I can't spell Yerachmiel
I can't even, no idea what that is.
or like Yerucham. Like, you know what I mean? The second
No,
there's other
yeah.
harder, like, Chewy names with the ch, I can't do it. So I assume people can't really spell Menachem.
Well,
Like, Pam's easier, but what's your Hebrew name?
I don't know actually.
You don't know?
No.
It's probably like Pamachachachacha or something. There's
I mean,
definitely,
I think my
it's
Spanish
difficult.
name is Pamela. What do you want me
That's,
to
but
I
don't
mean,
ask me to spell it, maybe.
I figure if I move to
Pam,
Israel, I'll just
P-A-M.
change it to like an like a cool,
Yocheved.
or
Right.
like Noah, like a cool like Jewish, Jewishy name.
Are you moving to Israel? Is that the plan? So you're going to
Yeah.
stalk me in LA and then move to Israel. That's the natural progression.
Yeah. No, I almost did Aliyah a couple years ago, but didn't
Oh,
didn't
well.
work out. So, um,
Sorry to hear, or is this a good didn't work out?
well, the war broke out like 5 months later, so I don't
Right.
think I would have been
Yeah.
too happy about that,
Right.
and nor would my parents. So
Are your parents in Florida with you?
they're in Florida, yeah. So
Cool.
I'm gonna stay here for a while. I can always
Nice.
visit again.
Are One more question. I know we're turning the interview.
Yeah,
Are
no,
you
you
a
can interview me
Florida?
now. That's fine. Let's
Yes.
go.
Okay, cool. Nice. So wait, are you Florida natives or are you like transplants from New York?
No,
Like,
I'm
did you
from New York.
migrate?
I grew up in New
Oh,
York.
you're from
Yeah,
New York. Okay,
yeah,
cool. Thought so. How
yeah.
long have you been in Florida for?
13 years.
13 years.
I still don't know
Very
how I
cool.
feel about it.
I was gonna say, I'm not a Florida person. Like, I needed to leave New York, but I like Florida was not ever my place. Like, I go
Um,
begrudgingly. Whenever I go for shows, I'm like, fly me out the morning of, and I want to leave the next day.
oh,
Like,
100%. I don't go back often, and if I do, it's yeah, I don't really go back. But I couldn't be in the cold and the gloom and doom anymore. So yeah, and my parents
well,
are here. So
we're Jews. We have some of the gloom and doom in our soul.
well, right, everywhere you go, there you are.
We just bring a little. It's just, yeah. It's called anxiety.
Right.
Um, the PC
But
term for gloom and doom is anxiety.
the anxiety of like actually moving again to an entirely new place is a whole other type of anxiety, and that's one of the reasons I didn't move to Israel. But
I get
yeah,
it. I
and I
told my wife, I was like, the next time we move, I want to be rich enough to just leave all of our stuff.
just
Like, I want to just move to new stuff. I don't want to pack it. I don't want to move it. It's just like show up to the new house, new things.
I
Done.
see. It's funny. I
Start
see
fresh.
on this Facebook page for Nefesh B'Nefesh. It's the Aliyah page, and all the people are always asking like, "How did you move your stuff? And how do I bring this? And how do I get that?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, that's a nightmare."
Nightmare.
Yeah,
Apparently, they give you, if you make a Leah, they give you, I think, either a crate or a half a crate. You can just put all your stuff into like this massive shipping
yeah.
container. But it sounds terrible.
It sounds awful. And then if you have a pet, it's another issue. And then they
Yeah,
don't
that's,
have
I
really
have two issues called children.
that, but they can go on a
Try
plane
moving
with it
with them.
too.
No, no, yeah. Oh, sorry. You missed, we got confused. I was saying I want to put the kids under. So I don't know. God forbid.
I understand. I do understand that. All right. Well, this has been fun talking to you, and
Thank you so much for having me.
I look forward to seeing what you are up to next. And, I'll follow you and see what your upcoming projects are. And maybe when I come to
Ama-
LA, I'll say hello.
Please come to a show. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast. Love your articles, love reading your stuff, and it's been amazing getting
Yeah.
to follow you as well. So
Thank
thank you for
you.
letting me be a small part of your awesome brand.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Have a good day. Bye.